Sometime in the 80s, the word cyborg got itself into pop culture, and next thing you know, we're flooded with a bunch of movies with these half-man, half-machines. I suppose it really was an inevitable era. Computers, along with robotics, became commonplace, inspiring the imagination of directors and writers, and moviegoers ate it up. There were a few that got it right. RoboCop and Terminator spawned all kinds of sequels and spin-offs, and their success only added to the frenzy of production companies rushing these movies into theaters. And the next thing you know, just about every big movie of the 80s was about a cyborg, or had some cyborg character in the movie. I suppose movies with cyborgs in the 80s is a lot like superhero movies today. They're just everywhere. Well, one of these cyborg movies is one of my original favorites. Eliminators was released in 1986. And just in case you need a brief synopsis of what this movie's about, just read the tagline: Mandroid, Mercenary, Scientist, Ninja. Each one a specialist. Together, they are Eliminators. Now, I say this movie is one of my original favorites because this goes way back. When I was a kid, my family had a beta player, and that's pretty much how we watched all of our movies. Betas and VHS were around about the same time, but my family, for some reason, thought beta player was going to be the way to go. So that's what we had, and that's what I watched a lot of my first movies on. Eliminators was actually released a year before RoboCop, and I watched it before I ever even heard of the Terminator. So this is my introduction to cyborgs. This movie's actually not very common. I don't know anybody who's ever seen it, other than watching it through me, and I don't know of anybody who's ever even heard of it, other than through me. So I'm actually surprised it ever even made it onto DVD. I found this copy on Amazon, and I think it's a bootleg. The barcode, it doesn't even match the movie. Check this out. Let me scan the barcode here. Ivory Hunters on VHS. The video quality is also really poor. It looks like it was just recorded right off a tape. Now, on to the actual description of the movie. Basically, I think whoever wrote this movie watched The Terminator and then boiled it down to the smallest elements possible. You've got cyborg and you've got time travel. That's it. This movie just takes off and goes in all kinds of crazy directions. If this movie is remembered for anything, I think it should be for being one of the greatest creative writing assignments ever. Some cyborg mandroid teams up with a scientist, some sort of like mercenary pirate, and a ninja. They combine their forces to defeat some evil time-traveling scientist. On the way, there are boat chases, explosions. They even get captured by cavemen. I'm telling you, this movie is bananas. So the Mandroid character is John. He was created by an evil scientist, Reeves. Now, Reeves is using John to test his time machine. He sends him back in time and then has him bring back relics from the past. The movie opens with John bringing back a shield from the Roman Empire. This proves to Reeves that the time machine actually works. So now he doesn't want the Mandroid anymore, so he orders it to be destroyed. Reeves' partner, Takata, is not happy about this. He wants to save the Mandroid, so he helps him escape. In doing so, though, he gets himself killed. John also gets wounded during the escape, so he has to track down Dr. Hunter, who's a robotic scientist, in order to help repair him. While doing the repairs on the Mandroid, Dr. Hunter realizes that some of the parts being used were actually directly from her research. And this actually upsets her so much that she has to team up with the Mandroid and go back to Reeves' laboratory to destroy him. But Reeves' laboratory happens to be in the middle of the jungle in Mexico. So they have to hire a guide with a boat to navigate a river through the Mexican jungle. The man they hire ends up being the mercenary, Fontana. Now, Fontana has always been my favorite character. He's kind of a jerk, but he's so witty and funny, I don't really mind. He also tends to rely more on his ingenuity than strength to get himself out of trouble. For instance, when Dr. Hunter asks for the toughest man in the bar to guide them through the jungle, everybody in the bar just starts fighting each other. Fontana, though, hides and waits for the fight to end, and then just smashes a bottle over the winner's head, outsmarting the fight altogether. So now we've got 3 of our 4 characters on their way to Reeves' laboratory. On their way, they're pursued by a few people. This woman, for instance, along with this redneck dude. They're both really funny characters, and they help to add some genuine comedy into this movie. But their presence along the river doesn't really add to the plot. Just know that a few funny people chase them and eventually they get blown up. So as they make their way down the river, John ends up actually falling off. Dr. Hunter and Fontana look for him, but they can't find him, so they decide to go on without him. So John now, on his own, finally gets to shore, and now he's kind of wandering around in the jungle by himself, and he comes across the ninja. Because why not have a ninja in this movie? So the ninja is Kuji, Dr. Takata's son. He's also on his way to Reeves' laboratory to avenge his father's death. Meanwhile, Dr. Hunter and Fontana are captured by cavemen. Yes, you heard me right, cavemen. Was anybody on the writing team even willing to say, hey, stop, time out? I don't think so. But can you imagine if there was? We wouldn't have much of a movie. But you know what? The team of writers actually kind of makes this work out. You see, they're getting close to Reeves' laboratory. And Reeves has a time machine. Wouldn't it make sense that he would bring back cavemen? Because I don't know his motivations. All I'm saying is it's a plausible premise. Anyway, John and Kuji come and rescue them from the cavemen. And now we finally have all four together. The Mandroid, the scientist, the mercenary, the ninja. And they're all ready to go fight Reeves. Sounds more like a video game plot. This would be a good video game. So they break into Reeves' laboratory and discover his plans to take over the world by going back in time and becoming the ruler of Rome. I didn't write this, okay? I'm just telling you the plot. If I had written the plot, he would have used this technology to overthrow the military and just become the ruler of the world today. But also, if I wrote the plot, there wouldn't be a ninja, there wouldn't be cavemen. Creatively, I think they did a better job than me. Now, before our heroes can stop Reeves, it turns out that Reeves has been busy while they were gone. He made his own cyborg suit, and now he's more powerful than John the Mandroid. So he beats him down and traps the other three in this electrical orb thing, and then he goes to his time machine. John goes to help them. This movie is as ridiculous as it is. At this point, it's got some balls. The main character touches the orb, absorbing all of the energy, destroying it, and killing himself. So the main character, the main hero, is dead. Spoilers! Why would you say that? You weren't going to watch this movie anyway. So the rest of the three follow Reeves, but it's too late. He's already gotten to the time machine and he's on his way back to ancient Rome. Dr. Hunter tries to hack into the computer to stop him, but she can't. So Fontana just punches the computer, causing it to malfunction, which sends Reeves to the year 400 million BC, where he's stuck forever. And the movie ends. John's dead, and we don't know how they get back home. I mean, were we expecting any more? The writers were probably exhausted and just called it quits. I mean, altogether, this is a pretty campy B movie. But even still, I'm surprised this movie didn't see more success. If anything, it definitely falls into the it's so bad it's good category. Sure, the plot is a little incoherent, but I mean, it doesn't ruin the movie. If anything, it makes it just that much more fun. If you're getting bored with a situation, throw in a ninja. Tired of cruising along in a boat? How about some cavemen? The acting isn't very bad either. The effects weren't too bad for their time. And the music was good too. I mean, sure, there were a few things that were ripped off of other movies. The Mandroid had half of his face was metal with a red eye. Dr. Hunter had this weird robot that kind of beeped and booped, and only she can understand it. But movies are always taking from one another. And this movie offered plenty of its own, so I don't think that ruined this movie. Really, the worst thing that this movie had going for it was the plot. It was a bit all over the place. But I guess for me, that wasn't the end-all for this movie. It never really lost me. I was along for the ride the whole time and enjoying it. I certainly wouldn't take Eliminators over Terminator or RoboCop, but there's no reason it couldn't have gotten a sequel or a stupid cartoon spin-off. So, what do you think? Have you seen Eliminators? If so, do you think it's any good? Or am I hyping up a lame movie that should be forgotten anyway? Leave a comment. Let me know. Until next time, keep watching movies.